There is no greater challenge in stock car racing than endurance, and tonight, as we saw on the Monday night Integrity Ignite Series, will prove no different. 300 miles, 200 laps. Made this trip before, but with a field of more than 35 drivers strong, the Integrity OCTANE Series has never done it quite like this. Welcome back live on FTN Broadcasting to coverage of Race 13 of the 2025 Integrity OCTANE Series. This is the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and this is the Integrity 300, the half-length Coca-Cola 600 event, the marquee point of our regular season. I'll be your host for tonight's coverage. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing, and we're about to go downstairs as qualifying is on the way for our field. So far, more than 10 times have been taken. Blake Cannon lies at the top of the board. Last night saw Hunter Madalenis get the job done over Ethan Lane. Lane led 130 laps on the day, and now we're coming back again to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. This time around, of course, it's going to be a different set of drivers, some of which we saw last night. Charlotte has proven one of the most exciting and intermediate circuits we've gone through throughout the history of the Integrity OCTANE Series. We've also gone to the circuit in the Roval form, Don Stevenson getting a victory in 2023, and an exciting race last year, which came down to the Big Three in 2024. But as it stands, track conditions significantly different from last time we went at it. Cody Smith has the pole position over Ryan Bean. Jacob Fife has gotten it up to P4. Nate Campbell, 5th place right now in the Superflow 45. Ethan Lane's victory last week in Watkins Glen got him the championship lead. He's now on the way in qualifying. His first lap of 29.629 is good for second. Immediately putting himself up on the pole position. That is Lane now up to P2. One more lap with any gains. He's only 11 thousandths back, would very likely put him on the pole. Lane looks to be just about as quick, if not slightly faster, as he comes out of turn 4. And it won't be enough, just 500 slower, a little bit loose out of the exit of turn number 4. He'll stay in second with 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining. Wetmore right now on the way in the 28th position. Tom looking to have a rebound race and get back up there with his teammate Blake Cannon. Cannon was in the battle for the race lead last night until a mid-race incident with Lane and Michael Araya. And as you might recall, he ended up being the thorn in Ethan Lane's side for the remainder of the race. As Wetmore comes across the line, the number 51 goes 9th place, and it looks like as the sun comes up, Tom, one of the quickest guys on circuit. Brian Yazzik in the 55 heads down to pit road as well. Now Matt Sisler going to be 21st. No improvement there for the number 93 team as he gets bumped back into 21st by Sam Nieto. Nieto grabs the pole position by 7 1/1000ths of a second with a quick time, 29.61. Getting there only 7 thousandths up on Cody Smith. It's going to be the number 18 team bumped down into second. Nieto comes down to pit road with 15 seconds remaining. Matt Sisler sits 21st. Don Stevenson, a former Charlotte winner, 31st as it stands. Randy Fiash and Aaron Eads, the only two drivers not to take a time. One of the final times on circuit stands as the pole sitting 1. That is Sam Nieto collecting the pole position with a 29.61, the fastest time on the charts tonight. Sam Nieto, an excellent qualifier, continuing that reputation of starting up in front when it matters the most. And this is something that has helped out the number 2 team in bringing it back to victory lane so far in the Integrity Racing League this year. Sam is 13 points back on Ethan Lane in the championship, despite having 5 fewer wins. This will be his second pole of the season, and he finds himself neck and neck now with Lane in the championship, so starting ahead of him could pay off big time. Zach Scrintinol on the circuit, one of the first drivers to be there, as is Ross Cato, Ryan Bean, Nate Campbell, and Nicholas Ward, as all of which come onto the circuit. Practice is back on for our final minutes. As drivers make minor adjustments, let's get to know the grid. Inside of row number 1, we've mentioned already, will be the number 2, Sam Nieto, grabs the pole position, and he will take it up to the top spot over Cody Smith. Then in second, Ethan Lane goes P3 after dominating last night and finishing just behind in second. It'll be then Ryan Bean in fourth, Blake Cannon fifth, and Brad Patton P6 in the number 7. Immediately subsequent to Brad Patton, you'll see the remainder of that top 10. First and foremost of all those, it'll be your 7th place driver, Jacob Fife. Nate Campbell goes 8th, John DeBarro is P9, and it'll be Tom Wetmore, the final driver in the top 10. 11th place is Jared Davis, and Nick Tarbuck is the concluding member of the opening dozen. 13th place goes Nicholas Ward, Nolan Potter 14th, Galen Gidman 15th, and Ross Cato P16. Brian Yazik is going to be the 17th place, and Zach Scrintinol is 19th. Of course, just after the fact, it'll be Scrintinol officially scored the 18th place. P19 is going to be the driver of the 28th, and Kevin Bernheimer. Eric McFarland is in 20th. Matt Sisler, Bobby Keith, Casey Shue, John Steele, and lastly of these top 25, Woody Mahan with 26th in Brock Potter, Sean Kalist in 27th, Eli Cars 28th, Richard Smith 29th, and Josh Gallagher, the 30th man on the lineup. Final drivers of the day, just immediately behind, it'll include 31st in Don Stevenson, first driver not to take a time in Aaron Eads, and the last man on the grid, that's the number 54 of Randy Fiash. Pole position, that'll be the top spot going to the number 2. Sam Nieto finds himself quickest with a 29.61, and he will lead the field in the Integrity 300 as we are now less than 5 minutes away from going green. Minute and 50 seconds left on the clock for drivers to take their final practice times. Brad Patton on the move now, but it'll be Blake Cannon so far, the quickest time in this session. Gotta watch out, without a doubt, for this number 44 team. Cannon was up in the mix all night long yesterday for the lead, whether he was contending for it or if he was running intentionally around those leaders, including Ethan Lane and Hunter Madalenis. Evidently was frustrated by the way that the race effectively ended for him, has gotten to a race-changing accident with Lariah and Lane respectively, and as it happened, that effectively ended the chance for Roadhouse Racing to come away with the win last night. The opportunity, it concluded, but it doesn't mean that tonight is going to be a sign of another failure. Currently, Cannon has the fastest time in this session, a 29.565, and that would be good enough for the pole position. Of course, it is draft assisted as multiple drivers are on track. See right ahead, Sam Nieto drops to the inside, letting the 97 of Nicholas Ward continue on. Ward is now on to his second lap. And it looks like this one is going to be timed, but it'll be the only one he gets in this session. Ward backs it down, heads to pit road, and he will concede. And it looks like right now, with time to spare, drivers head to pit road, and Blake Cannon sets the fastest time of the session. 29.565 to conclude practice and qualifying. The sun is out and the sun is setting, and we're looking forward to maybe a similar race weather-wise compared to last night. See how far the sun truly sets, though. The amount of cautions will make a difference. .200 laps on the table today, but it could be extended Went to double overtime last night, which means we went over 305 laps. Of course, 305 miles, shall we say. More than 205 laps, and it ended up being the longest race on the schedule as expected, but additionally the longest iteration of the Integrity 300 in either the Ignite or Octane Series. That came alongside a total of 15 yellows in total. Now, hopefully tonight, with a little bit of a smaller field, the track is empty right now, the track won't be as filled up overall by virtue of fewer drivers who have registered. Now, fewer isn't that much of an issue when you think about the fact we have 35 with us, but the difference between 35 and 50 really going to help out this pack tonight. Fleshing out the racing under green shouldn't be as much of an issue as Sam Nieto gets the ball rolling. Cody Smith on the outside. Lane, Bean, Cannon, Patton, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and Jacob Fife in 7th. Relative to last night's weather, it is practically identical. Ambient temperature of 80 degrees Fahrenheit and a track temp of 83 degrees means that we're looking at the exact same weather patterns as the night goes on. Fewer drivers putting that pavement down, of course with more rubber, also means the track might be significantly cooler as the night progresses. We won't see as much heat absorbed and put down on the racing circuit in these sunny laps. The drivers who are less confident right now that it might be a little bit of a loose circuit are going to be happy to see that eventually it cater to those who like to live on the edge when it comes to their racing style and cater to those, indeed, who are ready to push the limits. Coming back now to business in the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the home of NASCAR's longest event, and additionally the home of the Integrity Racing League's biggest test of skill. 300 miles from now, one winner will be chosen. Here's to 200 laps to find out who that driver will be. Cody Smith and Sam Nieto lead the field to green. We're back in business in the 2025 Integrity 300. Sam Nieto leading by car length and a half. He's got the advantage now over Blake Cannon, Ryan Bean, Ethan Lane, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 combination with a little bit of double file further back. Otherwise, the majority of the field looks to be in good spirits, as you'll see Galen Gidman bobble ever so slightly. .200 laps in this race is going to give a massive time slot for every driver to develop their strategy. Now, last night, as we mentioned, we had quite a few yellow flags, and it meant that as a result, we weren't able to see that green flag strategy, shall we say, fully flourish. Now, if drivers remain calm tonight, and we see even half as many cautions, we should be able to see a much better understanding of who has what in terms of their pace. And when they deliver it, that's going to really let us know who's got the stuff to go out there and win this event. So far, Sam Nieto looks to be the excellent man on the immediate short run, but there's a lot of time left to even get to a short run of 20 laps. We're anticipating that under green, drivers can go up to 70 laps long if absolutely necessary. That would mean that the driver who's leading right now is highly unlikely to be the man leading toward pit road. Sam Nieto, it's all about managing that tire and pace to make sure he doesn't really burn himself out. Nate Campbell in the number 45, taking it upstairs right now. Previously your leader in the championship. Now he finds himself in fourth, falling back from the title leader to fourth in the championship in just 1 week. Blake Cannon and of course, Nate Campbell, both of which falling. And for Campbell, he now needs to get himself back on the up and up. 16 points being the difference right now for the 45 team relative to your new title leader, Ethan Lane. For the first time, the number 6 of Lane, he's got himself the advantage in the title this year. He led the majority of the 2024 Octane Series championship, which he was eventually forced to relinquish as he pursued the Integrity Ignite Series and beyond, going to the Coca-Cola iRacing qualifiers in the Contenders Series. Now, Lane has himself that optimal shot. 5 wins so far on the campaign. He's got the opportunity to go for 6 tonight. It is door to door from Jacob Fife on down, and a lot more double file and controlled double file at that compared to the earlier stages yesterday. We noted that based on drivers' comments in our podium interviews, the middle groove really came into its own later on in the night. Looks like with the next gen so far, that second line is already there. Drivers experimenting with it, and maybe even taking it up to a third groove as Eli Cars is higher there. And number 5 at Casey Shue. And it's evidenced by the current formation. It appears the drivers are confident in going multiple lanes in this opening run. Yetto at the line, going to be beaten out by Blake Cannon, and the number 44 takes the race lead. While the team game plays a prominent role in the Ignite Series, as it stands, we don't see a lot of teams really dominating in this series, the Octane Series anyway. Roadhouse Racing has 2 in the top 10. You've got your leader in Cannon, but also you got a Tom Wetmore. Wetmore right now running in 7th across the line that time by. Otherwise, the majority of drivers are running on independent campaigns or being loosely organized with other drivers in the field. The real dominating teams, shall we say, in this league often get their time in the sun on Monday nights, and it's more of an independent affair today. Of course, Cannon signing on with Roadhouse Racing in the opening portion of the 2025 season. Now, he's flagship man up front in the 44. '44 to Cannon, now seeing that pressure, and that's going to be for third. Ryan Bean trying to get P2 here. Let's watch what happens as Ryan gets a little bit closer to Sam Nieto. Nieto, no choice but to push. Sam in the number 2, about a car length and a half. Just in front is Blake Cannon. Up to the high side, that's going to be Brad Patton here. Patton going up on that Brian Bean machine, and he's got it made, and he surges through not only for third, but also for second. Patton, remarkably more confident in the outside lane than any other driver is with the inside of the Peters. And at the line, he'll be able to take 2 spots in just 1 lap. Potter, very far behind. Patton, however, leading this brigade, chasing after Blake Cannon and using the high groove while he's at it. Now to swap down to the inside, Brad Patton for the race lead. Brad is going to give up what appeared to be his preferential groove. However, I don't know if that's going to be a mistake or not, because Blake Cannon gets a better run off the corner and just barely keeps the lead with a big block. That could have been detrimental contact for the both of them. Brad Patton now finds himself in second again. Patton, number 7, making big moves over the course of the last 3 laps, going from 5th up to second overall, fourth to second in just one lap. 16 laps time. Brad really putting on a show. Nolan Potter, he has been low-key so far, but you can see he's also on the ascent. Nolan qualified 14th of your top 10, is the biggest mover with 11 positions gained. So far, Nolan is 8th in the championship standings. While again, often a very reserved driver, he keeps himself out of trouble, keeps himself often out of the spotlight. Doesn't mean by any means that he is a bad driver. In fact, his capability to keep things calm and collected at all times has really played to be one of his strengths. And he plays it well. That's exactly why so far he's been able to make so many gains so quickly. Sam Nieto being passed by him, and Sam so far not able to hold a candle to the Potter machine as he takes P3. Side by side further back, this will consist of John DeBarro and Ross Cato. Nicholas Ward, the 97, going to be watching on as this multi-car battle ensues. Take a look with the 97 car. Ward, once again, coming off a strong run last night, finishing up there in the top 5. He's been cutting out a lot more work for these drivers than maybe they would have expected. So far, outside of the top 10, yes. Ward, every race is an open notebook, and he has been writing diligently, of course in a metaphorical sense, to make himself a much better driver. The next gen has suited his racing style perhaps more than the Gen 4 car did when he took a step back performance-wise last season. And it looks like even the Xfinity car has been able to help him out. Ward now runs position, as you can see there in the 97, runs 18th. So a little bit more work to be cut out, undeniably. But he's got himself a good view on the upper mid-pack, which can be used for future reference. As leader Nieto is leader no more, it's all about Blake Cannon. And while leading the opening 5 laps, of course, seemed to be out to a rocket launch start, hasn't turned out to be the best of cases yet for Patton. Forced to get back to Blake Cannon. And furthermore, not the best of cases for Sam Nieto to play defense. Looks like now Blake Cannon has the best of both worlds going on for him, in that he's been able to defend against the hard charger and get by the pole sitter, which leaves Cannon alone with this advantage up at the front of the field. And it's something he has used quite nicely. Car length back is Patton. The number 2, Sam Nieto, a half second behind from there. Top 10 going to be all single file. And you'll see Ross Cato and Cody Smith going at it. Cato in the number 12. He is looking for that continued boost in momentum we often say he needs. Ross last week was able to maintain position in the championship. He is still 14th, running 18th right now, so maybe a little bit below par compared to his standard. Cato, even though he's running outside of the top 15, has a lot of opportunity around him. And it not only comes down to position, it comes down to strategy. Drivers like Jacob Fife, who often push the envelope with regards to alternate strategy calls, while they're risky, if there's one driver you can trust with regards to that, I would say honestly, Jacob Fife is the man to think about. He would, above all else, have the track record to show making different calls works. And Cato doesn't feel that he wants to align himself with everyone else. He's looking at a few guys here who know what it takes to differentiate. I mean, Cody Smith as well. Smith having victories at intermediate circuits, including in his Night Series campaign 2023, Kentucky. The driver who, no doubt about it, knows how to get it done when the going gets rough. And Nicholas Ward, of course, has really been coming into his own at these intermediate circuits. So even if you're outside of the top 10 right now, you are surrounded by great talent. If you're Ross Cato, or really, if you are any of these guys. And recognizing the strengths of your peers and competitors oftentimes actually will help you out more than anything else. Can't wreck them. At least you can't wreck them all. So why not cooperate to at least a partial extent? It's going to be Blake Cannon still leading 1, 2, 3. The car lengths are now tighter. And it's going to be Patton, Sam Nieto further behind. Take a look on board now for the back end of the 44. Blake Cannon still keeping them all honest. Brad Patton, while quick to ascend, has not been able to replicate the last few laps from Blake Cannon. And I think his biggest mistake actually came down to the fact that he gave up the optimal groove voluntarily. A very odd decision when you think about how well Brad Patton was working the high side, and he gave up his biggest trick up his sleeve. Further on back side by side, but you also see side by side for second. Sam Nieto surges by Patton. At the line, it's still all Blake. See double file significantly further behind. It's been the most aggressive style of racing. Halen Gidman there. Inside, Matt Sisler. Garrett Davis perhaps struggling a little bit more than usual. Number 19 of Davis, who is well acquainted with victory lane in the podium circle. Now runs 23rd. The inside, Davis goes on Woody Mahan. That's the black number 19 on the bottom of Davis. The black and gray 49 of Mahan up top. Davis was not able to pull adjacent, and it looks like instead Woody Mahan got on the outside much better. Sam Nieto contact there with Blake Cannon, and briefly, number 44 of Cannon could not make it stick. As such, the number 2 gets away. Now, looks like Sam Nieto's got the momentum as he'll take the race lead early on. Although now, Cannon gets it low, and he'll drop to the bottom again. A very, very flawed entry for Blake Cannon, but even more so for Sam Nieto. He shot up high. Brad Patton watching the both of these drivers, and they haven't gotten anything edgewise yet. They are still almost equal to each other on pace. Comes Brad Patton on Blake Cannon, and it looks like now the 44 is slipping. Cannon is going to block on the high side, and that's all the defensive measure he has against that 7. And it looks like it might just help out in installing his teammate, Tom Wetmore, into 3rd. Wetmore gets low, cannot complete the pass. Tom watches as Ryan Bean gets behind. The circuit is rather dark. That's because the sun has almost entirely set. It is out of view. Stadium lights are yet to turn on. They're expected to do so in about 25 laps as Ethan Lane goes side by side now with Nolan Potter at the back end of the top 10. Lane deciding to lay back, before pushing later into the run. Again, we're expecting our first pit stop cycle under green to come at about lap 70 here. Lane watching, wasn't able to get by Ryan Bean, but he's still approaching the top 5. Heads up high again, sun once again shining on the circuit, and it becomes that yellow tint through turns 1 and 2. And you see the first half of the sector, maybe a little bit more lit up for the time being, but it's going to be a fluctuation in light until at last it becomes fully nighttime. The sun is expected to set before the halfway marker. That is without any doubt. Tom Wetmore has to watch out here. Lane up to P5, and it could very quickly be 4th. Take a look aboard with Ethan Lane as he is now putting it all in the number 6. Lane around the outside of Tom Wetmore, door to door now, but the Aflac number 6 has the speed. Take it out of the corner and go clear for P4. Blake Cannon again has the advantage over Sam Nieto. The number 2 shaken while Brad Patton lies further back. Patton might just be next. Lane, of course, still has to watch Brian Bean and Tom Wetmore go at it again. Ryan is going to at least get one position as a reconciliation for being passed earlier by Lane. And it looks like Ethan now going to have to deal with the front of the field. Remember, of course, that last night Blake Cannon and Ethan Lane very publicly had that debacle on the racing circuit for the better part of the final 50 laps, where Cannon blocked both leaders. And he made it particularly harder Ethan Lane to get away from Hunter Madalenis. Culminated in double overtime racing, and eventually, of course, the 0-7 taking the race win. Cannon goes high. Sam Nieto dropping down to the bottom once again. Another swap for the race lead as we're now seeing the battle for 3rd in action. Lane low. And Brad Patton up top. Patton nearly grazing the wall in full there. He's going to be able to get a good diamond arc into the corner and recover to stay side by side with Lane. Still toe to toe. Advantage is going to be Ethan Lane as they come across the stripe. And it looks like the high side does Brad Patton no favors against the number 6. That's Lane for 3rd, 41 laps in. Ethan Lane and Brad Patton separate once again, but it's going to be identical lap times as of recent for your top 2. Blake Cannon might have the edge for 1. You look again, and it becomes Sam Nieto's domain. Time and time once more, these two drivers have been contesting each other actively. And it looks like while Cannon has the edge for the immediate, might not last. The lane sees them split the gap. The middle groove is open. Sam takes the bottom. Blake takes the top. Still side by side. This time around a little bit more for 2nd than 1st. Lane tries to go 3 wide. Shades perhaps of last night. And Cannon gives. That's going to help out as now Sam Nieto leads alone. Wondering whether or not we're going to see any of those tensions taken in from last night. Although it looks like right now, both of our Ignite Series drivers who were contending for the win make contact. Lane down the track, and he makes square contact with the inside retainer. Tension rise once again. And if you weren't with us last night, it was Lane who ended up involved with a multi-car wreck that ended the night Cannon, and Lariah. Now, it started with Sam Nieto, but the quick correction on account of hitting Cannon's car pile drives your championship leader inside safer barrier. And he's going to find himself working a pit road for an emergency pit stop while Cannon and Nieto continue ahead. Now, I wouldn't say that's a direct continuation of those tensions and tempers flaring, but two drivers did make contact, whether it was inadvertently or not. "46 laps in at 200. Sam Nieto to the inside here. Cannon with a little bit of contact, albeit both drivers. His top two made contact in that incident. They're still hanging on. Brian Bean drops back a little bit further. This will give Nate Campbell the shot in the arm he needs. And a reminder, it is Sam Nieto right now versus Ethan Lane in the championship. 13 points the difference. And for Sam, he just gained more than 13 on Ethan Lane as Ethan falls outside of the top 30, dead last on the racetrack. By all accounts, for Sam Nieto and Blake Cannon, two leading title contenders, it will help them out immensely in the regular season title race. Lane has come on strong, winning last week at Watkins Glen, and it looks like his chance to defend either win now far behind us. Cannon comes to lap number 50. He is still in full control. Sam Nieto with John DeBarro previously, and it looks like now it'll instead be Tom Wetmore battling the 61. Nick Tarbuck is coming up. Wetmore as well, different teams, Domination Intimidation Racing and Roadhouse Racing, 251 and the number 4 respectively. And it looks like John the rookie is getting the edge over Tom Wetmore, albeit slightly. Tom is going to be toe-to-toe once more. So far, DeBarro, 20th in the championship standings, has had an adequate season for a rookie. Not necessarily a race-winning contender yet, I would say. However, it's not to say he's been a bad driver by any means, and tonight might be one of those standout races the 61 team remembers. The DraftKings Ford Mustang gets up on the wall briefly. That's going to help out for Nick Tarbuck. But either way, the calm and collected pace that we've seen tonight so far is indicative of what happens when you take those 300 miles on the docket very seriously. Now, both the Ignite and Octane series, cumulatively, have done a wonderful job of keeping the racing clean for the majority of the season. However, as you saw last night, same format by all accounts, and we had multiple cautions by this point in the event. 15 by the end of day. And a lot of these drivers are the very same ones that raced last night. John DeBarro down at pit road. As he comes in with Yazik, we might see the establishment of a 3-stop strategy. Here's how we'll break it down. Drivers coming in at lap number 50, 100 and 150. Beat 50 lap stints. The first 50 from grid, then this stint lasts till lap 100. Then the next stint laps till lap 150, and that lap 150 to the 200 stint be the last of the day. So, that said, could see 3-stop strategy as the winning move, or we could see a 2-stopper getting the job done. Say that because last night we saw upwards of 60 laps, and some drivers were experimenting to get toward 70. Sam Nieto and company go that far. They would only be able to take 2 pit stops, or rather they would only need to take 2, which would be at about lap 70 and lap 140 respectively, if of course everything works out. Nieto to the inside, Cannon up top. Tom Wetmore, the number 51, goes side by side now with Nicholas Ward, and you'll see Nick Tarbuck has the best view in his rear view mirror of this occurrence. Now, track conditions have been changing, but it's actually gotten a little bit brighter as the sun is set further. Interesting to see that, the cloud cover dissipating slightly. Nicholas Ward to the inside. Nick and Nick battled directly last time. It's last night, of course, and it looks like they're doing it again. We're about the same position as well, 7th and 8th. If you go back in the broadcast last night, about lap 180, you saw this exact same fight on track. Very interesting. 56 laps in, out of 100. 97 of Ward. It's got it made as he takes the position. Jacob Fife and Cody Smith a little bit further on back. Right now, it's your pole sitter, Sam Nieto, who is clear as Ethan Lane has faded far behind. Before we head down to our first pit stop cycle of the day, let's take a listen in on Sam Nieto right now and take a lap on board and figure out whether or not he is saving immensely in that number 2. We're going to be coming down to lap number 58 and very close to the end of this first pit stop cycle no matter what. Keep your ears peeled as we go live with Nieto. No clutching or coasting as we take that lap aboard with Sam, and it looks like he's rather comfortable and confident in wherever he's ending to go. And it's highly likely that he's going to try to go for that lap 70 marker rather than waiting further, which I don't think will be possible. You can't get it up to lap 100, or going through and gunning it and going to pit road immediately, which would compromise his run. If you split the race in thirds at lap 60, then you're only going to set yourself up for a 180 lap race. If you go to pit road at lap number 70, you get more laps. You get 30 more laps, as a matter of fact. That takes you from 180 to 10. That's the importance of saving right now, and that's why all the drivers up in front are trying to maximize this run to go the distance. As you can see, a majority of your leading field have not yet gone to pit road. If their last pit lap, as indicated by our left side ticker, is 0, it means they are still on their original run. One goes down to pit road this time. That's Zach Scrintinel. As Scrintinel comes in, it's going to be 4 tires and fuel for him. Leaders go by. Sam Nieto looking to hit the magic number. Lap number 67, mathematically speaking, would be the distance for exactly 200. Those extra 3 laps of cushion to get to 70 are that much more important. Jacob Fife, Nick Tarbuck, Eli Cars, Cody Smith. 4 drivers bunched up together. Eli Carr's a lapper as it stands, but the other 3 are going at it. Single file once more. Ross Cato going to be in the tail end of this. You see Ross has been able to pull himself up to 11th by virtue of following these drivers, and as we mentioned, working together makes it a lot more important to understand other drivers' strategy. So far, Cato's pulled himself up further by keeping with the guys around him. Just because a driver's not up there in the top 10 in the opening half of the race really doesn't mean all too much. Executing on multiple pit stops, even if tonight might just be only 2. That's the difference between finishing well or finishing far out of the leading picture. I think every driver knows that, yes, but it also means don't focus yourself too much on the immediate. Wait to see what happens from there. Cody Smith championship race right now, a little bit further back than he would like to be. That's without a doubt. So far, Cody is 9th in the picture, and while it looks like he will be again a firm lock for the playoffs, hasn't shown himself to be a championship level threat to this point. Cody with 1 top 5, 5 top 10 so far. Accustomed to winning, hasn't done so yet this year. And still looking for that first breakout race as he gets a little bit closer to the wall, but it just escapes him. Cody Smith up high, Nick Tarbuck down low. The magic number due to be hit as Sam Nieto comes down and in for lap number 66. He'll stretch it as far as he can and comes in with Blake Cannon. Zach Scrintano not going to be in this picture, but Nate Campbell is, and it's going to be the big 3 up and in front. These 3 drivers are all top 5 of the point standings, and Nieto gets the edge. Tom Wetmore is going to stay out and will surpass the magic number. That's actually going to be to his benefit, as Ryan Bean is now scored as the overall race leader. Any driver who has not gone down to pit road yet is now safe to go, and they would go the distance if we remain under green. That's exactly why Tom Wetmore comes in this time by, as does Cody Smith. Ryan Potter not in this race. Nolan Potter is, however. Nolan now is going to come through, as does Ryan Bean. Let's see who cycles up next. Jared Davis now second. And Ross Cato, as we expected, deciding to go for a little bit more of that alternate strategy call. He stays out alone to come in at lap number 68. So far, it looks like the stretch to 70 is the winning decision. Jared Davis with the race lead. Blake Cannon back on the circuit. He'll be leading Sam Nieto, and we're still waiting for everyone to fully cycle around. Don Stevenson in the number 47, finding himself now scored second. Casey Shue would be third. And it looks like, of all those drivers who have come down to pit road, John DeBarro would be first to take the race lead. DeBarro, 5th right now, went down to pit road 18 laps ago, as Don Stevenson just decided to go down and in, and he will concede, as does Casey Shue and Randy Fiash. Jared Davis is the only driver to go 2 laps 70, maybe go beyond it. But it looks like Davis's time is now. He'll hit 70, and he's got himself multiple extra laps to work with rest of this race. He's got a buffer of about 10 in all that he can use from here. Cato gets back on the way. John DeBarro is your overall race leader. But it'll be again 44 of Cannon and the 2 of Sam Nieto, the men to watch out for as they come up on the drivers with older rubber. While I do believe that the middling approach that these 2, Cannon and Nieto, took is very likely the winning way to go about it, I also am a fan of what Jared Davis just decided to do. In going so long, he's got himself in a much better position in case of an emergency. Now, 10 laps might not sound like a lot when you think about the fact that, oh, of course, we have ourselves 200 laps. That is 15 extra miles. Those miles would account for the entirety of an overtime run that goes 3 times, or it could account for the differentiation between a pit stop run in a 150-mile race and a 165-mile race, which is the difference of about 10 laps here, as we mentioned prior. Those miles could mean an awful lot if cautions were to get in the way. And even if they don't, if you have that backup, you can now push a little bit further. Confidence. Now, Jared Davis is, of course, going to have a lot of time to work through, and he's going to have to use it well. He is 20 seconds back on leader DeBarro relative to Blake Cannon here. Take a look at the numbers. He finds himself about 12 seconds back. That's a lot of time, but he has the youngest rubber, and that is an advantage nobody else can say they lay claim to. Now, precarious position, still it is absolutely, but Cannon and Nieto should at least keep one eye open to the fact that they're not on the best call by the absolute numbers. They probably are on the optimal call. Of course, Nate Campbell is as well, but by the numbers, the middle point isn't always the winning one. Got to look out for those extremes as well, and, well, it looks like tonight Jared Davis is the one who goes to extremes. Nate Campbell ahead of Sam Nieto. Going to be a casual gain. Gets the Nate Campbell machine up to 6th. Now that just about everyone has cycled through, you'll show, of course, on the left side of your screen, those intervals once again. Live on FTN Broadcasting, if you've got yourself a favorite driver you'd like to root on, make sure to let us know in the chat room. Love to hear what you have to say, and we got a lot of great drivers, more than 30 of which came to race tonight. While Ethan Lane looks to be the only retiree, the rest of the field is still with us now. They are trading places. Nate Campbell, looking to reclaim his championship lead, heads to the inside on Blake Cannon. Between these three drivers, Sam Nieto, Nate Campbell, and Blake Cannon, they are only spread by 5 points. That's it. So, any position is instrumental. Cannon is going to break away right now from Nate Campbell, of course, but Sam Nieto even dropping further back. Number 44 to Cannon having a much better night so far, and it looks like the tale of 2 races Monday night having a big issue. And so far, instead, it's been Ethan Lane with the problem. He's out in 33rd, and it means the championship lead will change hands again. Last week, it was Cannon who lost the title lead, and now it looks like instead it could be the number 44 who reclaims it. Nate Campbell 2 car lengths back, furthermore for Sam Nieto, but it's still going to be John DeBarro, the overall race leader. As you can see, he is still 6 seconds up on Cannon, and he might be able to lead at more than 10 laps just by virtue of all the distance that he's put up so far. John DeBarro here in the number 61. I'll tell you this much. He makes the alternate call that is most opposite to Jared Davis, in that he went in at lap 52. Now, that's going to guarantee that he got those good laps in before anyone else, but it also means that he's most likely going to wear his stuff out beforehand. So for DeBarro, he's getting that time in the sun, leading his first laps of the day, but is this the best decision to make if he wants to stay inside the top 10 for the rest of the night? Honestly, I'm very unsure. Unless he ends up balancing himself out, taking more of a Jared Davis style approach, and comes in at maybe about lap 135, still going to have himself in a very tricky position to even go to the rest of the distance. Set himself up by going early, and it might jeopardize the rest of his night. Going in before lap 60 is almost a death sentence on that 3-stint strategy. I think right now, DeBarro understands that and is just trying to hang on for position as slowly but surely, take a look on board, Brad Patton is making gains. Patton currently finds himself dealing with the number 96 of Josh Gallagher. Gallagher actually gets away now because he's got newer rubber. But as you can see, that blip on the radar further up in front, that is DeBarro, and he is reeling the 61 in. And as he does so, it becomes rather clear that this gap of 1.2 seconds now is going to become less and less until Patton, at the very least, gets his way, albeit it could be brief. Of your top 10 drivers, the biggest mover is your third place man, Brian Yazik, who has gone from 17th to 3rd on the day. That's a gain of 14 places, the number 55. Now, he's got to watch out because he'll be the first of these guys to be accumulated by the leaders to be. That's, of course, Cannon, Nieto, and Nate Campbell, who are all top 4 in the championship standings right now, and they will not be relenting. Furthermore, you got Nicholas Ward right there with them, and it looks like Ward is going to give him a real honest fight here. Do not count out the 97. Cannon goes low to block. That's Sam Nieto he's looking at. Nate Campbell gets the higher window. And DeBarro still has to look back because now the gap between he and Patton cut in 1/4. 1.2 seconds, 3/10. Patton dives low, and it looks like the time is now. Well, it might be brief. Brad Patton's going to get the opportunity to take the race lead here in Charlotte to the inside for the number 7. And it's all his. Brad Patton for P1 in the Integrity 300. First time leading tonight. He's got the edge now. All the while, it's going to be Brian Yazik getting swept up. Campbell, Cannon, and now Sam Nieto have all made it by. So for Blake, he's only gotten a 1.5 seconds to make up. New leader in Patton. Take that top spot. Blake Cannon in the number 44 runs in 4th place. And it looks like now you'll see Nate Campbell getting nudged up by a lapper in Randy Fiash. Fiash with newer tire, looking competitive for the time being. And he is a thorn in the side now to both Campbell and Nieto. Really helping out with Blake Cannon's cause, and that's just by the circumstance. Gotten out and ahead. And it looks like currently Blake Cannon has the advantage. Gap tightens to exactly 1 second at the line. Blake Cannon, he is right within striking distance. First and foremost, you're going to see John DeBarro have to defend upon these new leaders. Watch what he does here. As Cannon goes low, John DeBarro can do very little. In fact, all he can do is watch. It's now Cannon up to 2nd. And all he's got to do is get up to Brad Patton to take the overall race lead back. Cannon now having the advantage over all of his competitors, and those lappers remaining pesky. Going to be a clear-cut shot to take the race lead. Not going to be holding off any other driver directly anyway. And it's going to be a little bit of time to put things together just right. Whether or not Blake decides to use it well remains to be seen. As you can see now, Sam Nieto and Nate Campbell are only battling each other. They've got to account for Nicholas Ward just behind, who's looking to get, at the worst of it, a 4th place finish. $92 laps in at a 200, coming to 93. Halfway is approaching quick. and the opening portion of our strategy calls have been executed to perfection so far by the field. Currently, just about 30 drivers on the lead lap. Last time by, officially 27, with Randy Fiash going one down. Majority of the field is still with us. Only one retiree on the day in Ethan Lane. Otherwise, every other driver has kept himself out there within one lap of your race leader. 150 miles, the battle has only just begun. And when we get to the halfway point, it'll only be about 40 laps until our final pit window opens. Blake Cannon, without a doubt, is there. And I'm sure now Brad Patton knows it. It would perhaps be a pleasant surprise for the number 7 team of Patton to hang on until lap 100. As it looks like now, more than 1/10 of a second per lap. He is at the field's mercy. And the first man to bring that doom is the 44 of Cannon. Blake goes up high, blocked. Gets down to the bottom. Brad Patton trying to make those moves to keep him at bay. And Brad Patton, always a tough pass, but there's nothing you can do about a multi-lap tire difference halfway through a run. Blake Cannon going to be clear through 3 and 4 if he just does not make a mistake here. He's side-by-side already. The lunge into 3. Looks to be clear as day now. Blake has the advantage. Brad Patton, good surge off the middle of the corner exit. That's going to keep it toe-to-toe again. Cannon has not relented, has not gone back in line. It's side-by-side through 1 and 2. Cannon clear after 97 laps. Turn to the race lead once again. 44, then the 7. Blake Cannon up on the wall, though, and he scrapes it big. That's going to get Brad Patton the top spot and actually gives him several car lengths. And that is a saving grace for the 7 team. While Nicholas Ward gets by Nate Campbell, it appears now that Brad Patton still has one more fight left for the 44. Cannon goes to the inside, and this time he'll make no small choices. He'll dive big and look to finish the job. Still not able to do so, coming to lap number 99, coming across the line. Trying to get to that triple-digit marker, Brad Patton would need one more surge, but it looks like Cannon has not only cleared, but he's done so cleanly. Patton, lower, 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 can't get there. And I believe that's going to be the final nail in the coffin for Patton's current leading run. 97 at long last, takes himself up to the points. We're halfway point in Charlotte, and Blake Cannon is leading again. Coming to lap 101, and now with more than half of this race behind us here, strategy calls have been very consistent. I believe that consistency is going to give way to a different attitude, of course. Back marker guys. Now, your front runners, I think they're about dead set what they have to do. But if you're someone from about 15th on down, maybe Zach Scrintinol and company, wouldn't really hurt to try anything else. The leading way benefits the leaders. Everyone else, of course, just has to abide by it. Jared Davis, by the way, if we've been keeping up with that experiment, it looks like he's just gotten inside the top 10. And he will go 10th now as he gets past Ross Cato. 7 seconds back. He has 2 seconds to this. 99 laps to go. Cannon's got the race lead. Davis on the newest tires of all is still slowly mounting his charge. Top 10 goes as follows. Leading driver is going to be Blake Cannon with Brad Patton second, Sam Nieto third, and Nicholas Ward P4. Then there'll be Nate Campbell in fifth. Sixth place is Tom Wetmore, and Nick Tarbuck is seventh. Brian Bean goes P8 with Nolan Potter ninth, and Jared Davis rounds out the top 10. Come toward our halfway marker, of course. We've passed it now. We'd like to thank our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulations for making tonight's action possible. Now, for more than 17 years, iRacing.com has led simulation racing, not only with stock cars, but with Indycar, Formula One, the World of Outlaw Dirt Tour, endurance racing with IMSA and the World Endurance Championship, and many other disciplines. Start your sim racing journey today at iRacing.com and learn more about how to register after tonight's broadcast. With 96 laps remaining, we'll return right after the following message from our friends at iRacing.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
.94 laps remaining. It's going to be side by side between Brad Patton, still fighting hard despite his older rubber, and now Nicholas Ward getting himself up to P4. Take that move and maybe replicate it again. And it looks like that's the game plan now. Ward, his best podium finish in the Ignite Series was second in Kentucky. And again, a winner this year in the Octane Series. He has been stepping up, doubly so compared to maybe even our expectations. He's a former race winner and the very first driver eliminated from the 2023 playoffs. Now, we mentioned that, and it might sound like a negative, but again, he was just one position out in the championship picture. Now, maybe not the most satisfying way to go out, but we knew that Ward had the capabilities to begin with go far in this series. And it looks like this year, a little bit more experience, and of course, getting that right mindset dialed in with equipment that he likes. It all worked out well to bring Ward up to the helm, really make him a race-winning contender continuously. Josh Gallagher, the lapper, put away by both your top two drivers here, and although the aggression level, I would say, is going to continue increasing, what you're seeing right now is still nowhere near indicative of the final moments of this race. Yes, the leaders are close, but what happens at lap 110 won't be nearly as much as what happens with 10 laps to go. So I think the drivers are going to stay situated. Remain very close, yes, but they will remain calm. And perhaps if this was that 10 lap to go point, as you mentioned, Sam Nieto, he would be the driver maybe pushing a little bit further as opposed to the lappers. Up high goes Eli Cars in the 82. Lappers have been put to rest all night long in this opening stint, and I'll tell you this much, this has been a remarkably impressive run for every driver on the racetrack. Doesn't matter if you're in the front of the field, if you're in this mid-pack, if you find yourself a lap down. The driving quality of this field has proven itself once again in our longest racing test. Again, go for mile-and-a-half races very often, but they're usually anywhere from 150 to maybe 200 miles. Some nights we go 200, which is the lap 134 marker, which we're coming up on very closely. But to go for 300 miles, adding the extra 100, ups the endurance game that much further. And it's not just about keeping your car clean and up front for those 300 miles. It's about keeping yourself focused the entire night. So far, the leaders, of course, doing perhaps the best job of which, but it comes down to recognizing the limitation of the circumstance. 110 laps in, you gotta restrict yourself, but you have to remain completely focused, of course, as to what happens next. You have an understanding of what you're going to do, that helps out that much more. Aimlessly making your way around, one deal, but strategically going through at maybe about 90-95% could be the difference between victory and defeat. Any of these top 5 guys, I mean, even Brad Patton, he could still be in it. Patton is on older rubber than all of the drivers ahead of him, and in the last 20 laps, from the point he was first contested to now, he has only dropped 1 second relative to the leaders. That is remarkable. He looked to be as good as gone by the time he was passed first by Cannon. And now, it looks like it's going to be instead 85 laps to go. Cannon has hardly gotten away. Take a look at the back end of the 44 now. Sam Nieto, while Patton is close. That number 2 is closer. Nieto driving deep on Aaron Eads, and another lapper going to play a pivotal role in just blocking the field out. Sam Nieto got by Aaron, of course, eventually, but having to be shafted up to the high side doesn't look to be Sam's preference. The only driver that was working that top groove well early on was Brad Patton, and it looks like once again, he's going a little bit higher. Eads low, again on Nicholas Ward. And the issue is, with the lappers now, they'll be on different strategies, so some of them might actually have the potential to maintain pace with the leading drivers. Maybe they don't have the technique to maintain it, but a good lap or two would really keep them identical with the leaders. Younger tire. We'll see if that ends up being a big issue. We saw previously, and that's exactly how Blake Cannon kept his name known last night against Ethan Lane. Nevertheless, Sam Nieto to the inside now with 82 to go. Nieto couldn't quite get there, but he definitely keeps his eye peeled on what's to come. We only have about 20 more laps in this stint, and as you can see, last time drivers went in, the 60s. So, most likely going to see the field come down and in within about 15 laps. Coming to 80 laps to go. And the difference is getting closer and closer between seeing a full-on yellow-free race and, of course, maybe some late race troubles. It's been an endurance run without a doubt regardless. We've gone nearly 200 miles under green. Lap 100 was a 150-mile point. Lap 134, that would be about the 200-mile. Then lap 250. Coming up on that, and that'll be the last midway milestone. That would be at about lap 167. Just to keep account for the mileage here, 50 laps coming in about 34 laps today. Miles 34 laps. That's why lap 150 counts perfectly as midway points. 100, 150, and a 200. 79 laps to go. Up front has gotten calm. Look a little bit further back. There's still some dicey battles. Cody Smith now separate from Potter, although it's a few tenths. Cody runs 15th as it stands, 119 laps through. We'll also have Richard Smith here coming up with Jared Davis. Davis is getting up there on Nick Tarbuck, and this would be for 7th. As we expected, Davis keeps on climbing. Jared Davis is there not only on Nick Tarbuck, of course, but also, as you can see, number 51 of Tom Wetmore. While the top 5 might be currently out of the question, Nick Tarbuck right now we're watching on board with, by the way, it'll be Jared Davis who will go as high as 6th on this alternate tire call. There's Richard Smith further behind. Jared now makes the pass on the number 4 of Tarbuck, and that is good for P7. '96 of Gallagher to the inside again. Gonna have to dive low after being passed subsequently by 3 lead lap guys. Jared Davis is fast once more. He'll take it to the inside on Wetmore, and it looks like now he is good for position. That is Jared Davis, 5th place. And that's because now you're starting to see drivers concede. Brad Patton just went down to pit road, and he just got back on the way. So Davis, he's going to get now on the move, and that's going to be 124 laps in. He's going to super stretch this. If he wants to win, that is the way he's going to do it. It will be a super stretch after 56 laps. Be tight. It's going to be a 75-lap run. I don't know if it's going to be possible. But willingly, Brad Patton makes the call. First of your top 10 down and in, and now you're going to see the field is spraying through. Sam Nieto takes it up to the top. And Blake Cannon passed down the back straight with some lapper interference. That is Nicholas Ward to 2nd. As the backstretch sees 1, 2, 3 scatter, reorganize, and that's Sam Nieto to the points. Nicholas Ward up to the highest spot he's had all night long. That now being 2nd place. Got himself ahead now of Cannon. Blake quickly is going to try to recover that spot. Down the back straight, Blake is evidently faster. And it looks like that's all he'll need. Just take the high side for a wild ride. And keep it at least even. All the while Sam Nieto breaks out. That kerfuffle coming out of turn 2 just 2 laps prior is going to give Sam Nieto multiple tenths to play with. That's about the best thing you could have as a driver right now, that comfortable sense that you are good to go to push harder. Nieto's going to make the most of this one. That is without a doubt. Jared Davis now scored in 5th. Still quite a ways out for the men ahead of him. Nevertheless, to be P5 on that alternate tire call, thought it was going to be a good one to make gains, and it looks like Jared has proved us right. Although relative to these guys up ahead, he has pretty much stalled out. Cannon now for P2. Sam Nieto again is ahead. Take a look aboard with Nicholas Ward as he tries to get his revenge, shall we say, and maybe he has enough steam in him to get side by side once more. Let's see what Ward does. Ward had a weak exit out of 4 last time, but Sam Nieto concedes. Sam Nieto down and in. He makes it in at lap 131. He's going to go for a longer run, 69 laps. Nicely, he'll make it in just on the magic number. And it looks like Sam should be good to go from here, yes. But be tricky to see whether or not he gets ahead of Blake Cannon. Cannon decides to go longer, so he'll have newer tire. 1 lap is the difference. Nicholas Ward decides to go the extra mile and a half. Solidify himself newer rubber than his 2 other rivals. We'll see what, if any, of this advantage Nicholas Ward has in staying out longer really plays out in his favor. Looks like now Ward has a shot. Could be unprecedented. He got up to second before the drivers went in. And is still on pit road. All the while, to look at it, Sam Nieto is getting on his way. Nieto looks like he's going to be good to at least get side by side with Cannon across the line, but he's going to be blocked big by Richard Smith. Oh, without a doubt. Sam Nieto, like a rocket ship, surges by the 44 of Cannon and puts a good 5 seconds in the 44. That is major for Nieto's chance to win, and I think he knows that for certain. All the while, Nicholas Ward also gets out, and Ward looks like he might be smack in the middle by the time he gets that exit. Comes out ahead of Cannon, but behind Sam Nieto. So the same order they came in on, same order they exit. 66 laps to, whoa, Richard Smith! Cannon is gonna drive to the inside. Ward goes high. Oh, Sam Nieto hits the jackpot with his timing. I mean, as he gets away from this, unbelievable. Watch this. And Nieto's up in front. Cannon and Smith. They had a little bit of room against each other, but Nicholas Ward brushes the 23. Cannon cuts loose and drops to the inside. The fact that they stayed straight. Remarkable. But man, oh man, for Sam Nieto, that was the golden ticket right there. He had no interference on his outlap, and now he is out and free. "64 laps remaining live on FTN, and we don't often break the coverage up, but when we do, we make sure you see the bigger picture. We're going to go briefly non-stop coverage to finish this race off strong and bring you the best action for the final moments of the Integrity 300. Sam Nieto is your current race leader, and you won't miss a thing. Check out the right side of your screen for continued updates as we take a brief break and bring you the words from our partners and associates that make it happen live on FTN. Presented by Whiplash SimCams, you're watching FTN non-stop coverage. Sam Nieto is your race leader. We'll be right back after this.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
Boundless makes its presence felt. It will not be ignored. We're helping turn ideas into reality with a wealth of building products that take every architectural style to the next level. This is what it's like to imagine, build, and transform anything we want into exactly what we seek. This is what it means to be boundless.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Thanks in large part to demonstrable contact between Richard Smith and Nicholas Ward, both the 97 of the 44 are almost entirely out of this race-leading fight. I mean, if you look at it right now, the numbers will show you that Sam Nieto's also had his troubles, but Blake Cannon is going to be way back on where he would like to be. Sam Nieto now has given it up to Nicholas Ward once again. Ward is now in 4th. Sam Nieto is P5. And it looks like overall, Brad Patton is exactly where he needs to be with 56 laps to go. He's got 8 seconds to work with over the course of 56 laps. It's not a particularly comfortable gap when you think about how quickly he caught up to previously. Again, he only lost about a second after he was caught up to over the course of the final 40 laps. Patton plays it strong, gets at it nicely, and has consistent tire saving in these opening portions. I think he's going to be in a great position to go the distance. Not be easy by any means, but for number 7 team, it's still very plausible he comes away with the win, even though he's on a very alternate strategy and has been going in earlier than everyone else. The outline strategies are not done and done today. I mean, Jared Davis is also with Blake Cannon right now, and it looks like this is the battle for P8. Advantage lies Jared Davis. Davis now gets that 8th spot. All the while, the 44 Cannon drops back further and looks like really shaken by that prior incident. Nicholas Ward is going to try to come up on Brian Yazik. That'll be the next man on the agenda. 53 laps to go out of the 200 we have on the docket tonight. We have raced consecutively under green to get to this point. One of the most impressive races the Integrity Racing League has put together. It has been a flag-to-flag effort for all of our ambitious drivers who think they've got a shot to win it. I mean, Brad Patton so far, look at him. He's on an alternate call, and he's going to have to come down and in. He concedes prematurely. That is it. Patton is out of the way, and it looks like went a little bit too early in. He'll have to come down, and there's no longer a shot for that number 7 team to hang on for victory. John DeBarro takes the race lead. Brian Yazik now finds himself 2nd. All eyes on Nicholas Ward in the 97, as he still has a chance to get the job done. He has put Campbell, Wetmore, and Nieto in the dust. Watch out now. Nicholas Ward is coming. Sitting in the championship, as it stands, not necessarily a direct competitor, but 11th place. A victory would do wonders once again. Of course, he already has won Knowing the crooked number column would bump him definitively into the playoffs no matter what happens. Jared Davis, that time by, looking red hot. You see now he's only about a few car lengths back on Ward. This is where that long game strategy looked to play out well because Davis gets by Campbell and Wetmore. Setting himself up for late race success, Davis ran 2 very long stints, and it means he can push freely on this final one to go after the checkered flag. That is why now he is up inside the podium. Nicholas Ward has to watch out. Might be your leader, but very soon you're going to see Davis giving him a fair shot for it. Last time by, Nicholas Ward able to get the job done down to 30.366. Jared Davis, on the other hand, put down a 30.119. 0.2 of a second faster. At that rate, Davis would close before we hit the 40 lap to go marker and take the lead once again. Davis, unfortunately, is the one driver we still have not gotten access to interview-wise. That's the tricky part. No, of course, he knows exactly what's going on the racetrack, but we have not been able to shed light onto what exactly Davis does inside the cockpit. The only way we do that is we ride on board, and why don't we do just that and take the lap with the 19. Ward that time by, able to maintain pace, and it looks almost equal between them. In fact, a little bit of loss there for Jared Davis is now the 97. That's Sisler's draft. Getting just a little bit of toe now from the driver ahead. That's going to help Nicholas Ward in breaking out, putting a little bit more distance. 45 laps to go, coming to 44 here. Nicholas Ward is there. He'll put another driver a lap down, of course. Matt Sisler, as it stands, the number 93 car, running a solid race by all accounts. Currently finds himself 21st and the final man on the lead lap. Very soon, it's only going to be 20 on the lead lap by the way things are looking. That's just a little bit quicker that time by, but I don't think Ward is going to be pushing particularly hard to pass him, as to make sure he doesn't cause himself any big troubles. Looking back, Sam Nietta with Nick Tarbuck, and here's Blake Cannon side by side. It is a critical fight in the top 5. Tarbuck down low on Cannon. Sam Nietta remains the spectator. Nick Tarbuck is going to have the edge. And that's going to give the 44 of Cannon a little bit of a surgence on the inside. It's going to be that crossover move. And they're toe-to-toe again. 42 laps to go. Time is running out. Blake Cannon looks quicker. Nick Tarbuck steps aside. Sam Nietta with a 7th spot here. And for a night of his caliber, of course, night of this performance's caliber, I don't think Sam Nietta is going to like seeing it fade into just another top 10 run. Undeniably, a great performance to this point, leading many a lap, and being in that top 5 consideration all day, but right now he runs 7th in all those competitors that he's been keeping behind him. have broken out. Blake Cannon still there with Nick Tarbuck. Tarbuck gets low. Cannon is high. They're going to be side by side the line. And it is a dead heat again. Jared Davis that time by put 0.2 of a second down, and the gap is now within 0.7 between Ward and Davis. Edges with the 19 once more, and the pursuing driver getting even tighter. Less than 40 laps remain now for Nicholas Ward. Over the last few laps, the gap is shrinking even further. Another 0.3. Jared Davis now is right on the back end of the 97. Ward got the bailout from Sisler, but that wasn't permanent. That just a few moments away, and even further extending that advantage, Jared Davis now gets to the inside. Davis, for P1, takes the race lead, and the extreme strategy call comes to pass. New race leader, it's the 19. Jared's had to wait all night for that opportunity. And it looks like at long last, he's gotten himself right up to the points. The most challenging thing about it all comes down to whether or not Jared now can continue the level of pace he's been putting down to cut that gap. And not only cut it, but do so quickly. Went from a 9/10 edge 5 laps ago for Ward, with 0.2 of a second deficit, just like that. "36 laps to go, and it's all Jared Davis now at the head of the field." Now with this battle for the lead sorting itself out once again, we'll put our eyes on what's going on behind. Nick Tarbuck now has 5th, and Blake Cannon has faded back. He'll be alone in the 6th spot. Ross Cato, through quiet execution, got himself up to the 7th place. That's about what we expected from one of our calmest drivers, always knowing how to keep things in focus for the future. Fast Forward Esports number 12 has taken this trip one step at a time. And while it hasn't been an easy one, it looks like now he might be on the verge of one of his best finishes this season, just by virtue of keeping that persistence. Cato on the inside of Cannon. He'll make the pass. Take a look behind. Ryan Bean now going to be even closer than Blake Cannon was, and it goes to show the 44 is struggling with late pace. Blake now going to find himself 8th as he's lost 2 spots in the last 2 laps. For Blake right now, the end goal is most likely going to be just about staying inside the top 10. Tires, I think, are what are doing his end. Saw, of course, he had to slide out of Richard Smith's way. Smith is actually behind him, ironically. And in doing so, messed up his equipment. Now, it doesn't look like any major cosmetic damage. But now to see that Smith is faster than Blake Cannon, quite ironic and unfortunate, because it means that now Blake is really losing a great run that could have gotten him up into the lead in the championship picture. Jared Davis leading now by a full second as we come to 30 laps to go. There's Bobby Keith in the 92. Bobby still with us here, 2 laps down as it stands. Still, the only official retiree is Ethan Lane, although John Steele and Sean Kalis have been down to pit road for extended periods of time. And Eli Cars is heading in. 30 drivers are still actively racing to this point. Garrett Davis is the leader of all of them. Tom Wetmore is going to be half a second back right now on Nate Campbell. It looks like he might have an outside shot at a podium placement. The differentiator is going to be that late race pace. Tom Wetmore hasn't been the strongest with it. It looks like Campbell's actually been able to make some gains slightly to what's ahead of him. All the while, Wetmore just lost another 10th to the 45. So for Nate, looking to lead the championship race once again after Ethan Lane ends up with a dismal 33rd and last performance. Top 3 absolutely do wonders. Ryan Bean going 7th, also great for his cause. And he's trying to go up there and jockey Ross Cato. Still hasn't been able to make a pass or even a move for a pass just yet, but that remains to be seen. Take a look aboard now with the number 26 car as he comes up on the 12 of Cato. Ross Cato looks high, but it isn't going to be any chance with regards to putting a pass down. Robofet in the chat room asking whether or not the leaders are good on fuel, and tentatively speaking, what we're looking at is that the leading guys who are out right now would be good to go. Garrett Davis last went down to pit road at lap 138, which means that he is running a 62-lap run. The max that any driver has gone for today is 71. So the magic number, being 67, which is a third of this race, means that for Davis anyway, he is more than comfortable. Doesn't have to go the full distance of what he prepared to do, and the majority of these drivers further on back are going to be in a similar spot. If you went down and in after lap 133, which almost the entirety of the top 10 did, with the exception of Sam Nieto at 132, these drivers should be automatically good to go. It's going to be a little bit tighter for Sam Nieto, being that he is on a slightly older run, yes. But everyone else, from lap 133 on up, secure to go to the end. Now, if you haven't been watching the whole race, this is still the first green flag run. We have been green all day from beginning to end. Nicholas Ward now to the inside for the race lead. Looking to get it back now on Jared Davis. The 97 side by side. They're coming up on the lapper, Matt Sisler. And both drivers don't give an inch. Ward down low. He's going to be taken all the way down to the paint line. Jared Davis was able to make that rocket ship approach. Take a full 9/10 of a second advantage. Now he's only about a car length and a half ahead. Nicholas Ward shows his weight and then some one more time with 22 laps to go. And as always, we'll crank it up with Whiplash Sim Cams, iRacing's best camera provider. And if you'd like to get a free sample, visit their Discord server today. Thank you to the Pit Stop TV crew for making things happen with Whiplash Sim Cams, the FTN Broadcasting camera provider for 2025 and beyond. It's our longest green flag run of the year. Now more than 250 miles consecutively. Let's crank it up from America's home for racing with 22 laps to go. Jared Davis is on top. . Only 17 laps remain now for Jared Davis and Nicholas Ward. And it looks like, if anything, these are the two drivers who have the best chance to win the Integrity 300. Davis, just barely, has been able to keep Nicholas Ward at bay. We saw with about 25 laps to go, Ward made the attempt for the pass for position, was not able to gain possession of the race lead. Subsequently, the 19 got back up front. Now, 15 to go. If there's anything left for Ward, he's got to show it fast. Tenth of a second, that's the gap. It's not a detrimental loss of time, but currently Ward is again behind, and that's going to be a big problem. See what happens now with the lapper Brian Yazik as the bookending man in this fight. It's like the lappers won't pay or play much into the action. For now, it looks like it's just going to be these two drivers going at it. Coming up on John DeBarro and Randy Fiash. And Fiash, we saw beforehand, not easy to get out of the way. Fiash still going to be about 5 car lengths ahead. And a little bit of an expanding gap, in fact, as Davis and Ward are going to back off slightly. 13 laps to go. The Baker's dozen has arrived. For the first time in 188 laps, the caution is out. It is going to be a yellow flag after nearly a full race under green. It's Blake Cannon. Caution is out after 188 laps. Take a watch back and see why. See here the 22 got out of the way, but the 44 was up in the wall. This is at the time of incident. Sam Nieto contact, taking the 44 up the track. Nieto slides, and the yellow flag, the first time in this race, is out. Unbelievable. So we'll see if pit road gets busy, but it's unlikely that that's the case unless everyone comes in. And of course, an amazing run from every driver to go nearly 300 miles under green. The leaders are in. This is the most important pit stop cycle of the night. Davis and Ward together, then Campbell, Wetmore, and Cato just behind. Watch what happens now as the field comes in together. Let's see what happens next. Wetmore's out first. Then Davis. It looks like Tom might have taken a 2-tire call. Then Ross Cato, Nicholas Ward, and finally after that, Nick Tarbuck. Wetmore leads the race out, and that is pivotal. We'll have 9 laps to go and we go green. It could be as little as 8. Step aside briefly to figure out what's going on with race control. Until then, you're watching live on FTN the final laps of the Integrity 300. We will return immediately after this and bring back coverage before the green flag flies.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
Boundless makes its presence felt. It will not be ignored. We're helping turn ideas into reality with a wealth of building products that take every architectural style to the next level. This is what it's like to imagine, build, and transform anything we want into exactly what we seek. This is what it means to be boundless.
Back to business now with 8 laps remaining. It's Tom Wetmore, Jared Davis, the guys who got out of pit road first. Wetmore, the big winner, of course. He got the job done on pit road to take advantage. Ross Cato, Nick Tarbuck on the inside. Jared Davis, Nicholas Ward, and Ryan Bean on the outside. Tom Wetmore now with the best opportunity all season long to win it 1.5 miles. Whether or not he capitalizes on this 8-lap dash not only comes down to him, but the entire pack. We haven't gone for a restart. Oh, we're going to go for a second one. Jared Davis explodes off the impact, cautions out. That's his race. Those are the jitters after not restarting for the entire night. Watch this. Ward into the 19 of Davis. The race center for Jared. He collects Eric McFarland. Very fast it all went down. And unfortunately for Jared, that is his night. Take a look on board as it happens. It's a 360 spin, and back to business, maybe for Davis. I mean, he's not going to be anywhere near the front. Wetmore takes the race lead, and he'll have it for his second restart of the night. We'll have less than 5 laps to go when we go back at it again. So it will be, at most, about 6 miles of the scheduled 300 final sprints. Tom's got the edge. Ross Cato is now going to see a few guys who are leaders go down in. There's Jared Davis, a former leader, then Casey Shue, Matt Sisler. So the mid-pack decides to go for one more stop. Tom Wetmore will stay out. America's home for racing has given us probably one of the most impressive displays of Octane Series action throughout this series' history. If you'd like to join the fun live on FTN Broadcasting, all leagues that we cover from Monday to Sunday and everywhere in between, the information is left in our descriptions of each and every broadcast. So, if you're enjoying tonight's coverage, leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel, and we'll keep the ball rolling. As we get back to business, Nancy Wetmore, Josh Smith, Frobafett in the chat, thank you all for tuning in. Favorite drivers out there, you haven't spoken up yet, let us know. This is the biggest restart of the day, unless we go to overtime, which is entirely plausible. It could happen. We just don't know. And to think that after our longest ever green flag run, it will end like this. Very similar to what happened last night. Except, this is our second caution as compared to the 15 that we saw yesterday. Ross Cato has not seen victory lane since 2023 in the Integrity Racing League. And now, for the first time in nearly 500 days, he's in a poised position to find his second career victory. Currently running with us on the lead lap is a total of 25 drivers, Jared Davis and Nolan Potter, the last of which there is Nolan getting up to the front runners. Jared Davis is as well after that incident. Cato high-sided, Wetmore on the bottom, 4 laps remain. Here we go. Any caution after this will send us into overtime, and then we will have 3 attempts to extend the race after our already existing 300-mile scheduled distance. When white flag hits, this race is official, no matter what. We got those first restart jitters out of the way with a bang, and it looks like now Tom Wetmore gets away smoothly with a car length plus. Wetmore into 1 and 2. He's got the edge. Tom is going to see side by side behind him, but right now it is smooth sailing for the 51 up and in front. John DeBarro with Woody Mahan. That's going to be mid-pack racing. You'll see Casey Shule, the number 5. Right there, 3 wide. Josh Gallagher, Bobby Keith. No dice. Wetmore leading. He's now got half a second over Nick Tarbuck. And it looks like this gamble that Wetmore plays might just be the winner. A little bit of contact further on back. They stay green. Tom went down to pit road, got a 9.5 second stop, which means he only took 2. How little time we have under green. His tires are warmer than anyone else's, and he's got the grip to prove it. 2 laps remaining. Strategy, finesse when it counts, and a lucky circumstance. Tonight, with Wetmore now jetting out of the way, he'll only need that 1 final lap to prove he was right in the perfect position. One lap to go. Side by side for second place is going to be Ryan Bean and Nick Tarbuck machines, respectively. Nicholas Ward still fighting for the podium as well. While they jockey for second place, Tom Wetmore's pit stop call, the gamble with a dozen laps remaining, beats out 188 laps of formulaic strategy. Sometimes races hit the fan. And Tom Wetmore blows out to a 1-second lead in only 4 laps. Wetmore wins the Integrity 300, the longest green flag run in series history, and the shortest dash in the Octane Series running at the Charlotte Oval. A tale of two races. Wetmore wins the shortest and most important one of all. Tom has collected 2 crown jewel wins this season, both of which more than 250 miles in length, winning at Daytona and Charlotte. Roadhouse Racing is back on top. And now, as quickly as he gets out of the racing mindset, it's about time to celebrate. Tom Wetmore's second victory comes after shocking the field. While Blake Cannon tonight looked to be poised to get it done early, it'll be his teammate Wetmore, who, as you can see, led the last 11 laps in sequence. That's enough to win tonight over second place Nick Tarbuck. Then, Nicholas Ward in third, Ryan Bean in fourth, Ross Cato rounds out the top 5. Brad Patton on an alternate strategy call played it as hard as he could and got to 6th, Jacob Fife 7th, Nate Campbell in 8th, Cody Smith in 9th, Woody Mahan, then P10. 11th place on the board would be John DeBarro and Brian Yazik would be 12th. 13th is Don Stevenson. 14th place, Brock Potter, Matt Sisler 15th, 16th Casey Shue, and P17, Josh Gallagher. Jared Davis looked to be poised to get it done until he found himself in a late race incident, 35 laps led, finishing 18th. 19th is Bobby Keith, 20th is Aaron Eads, and the top 30 from 21st on back. Randy Fiash, Kevin Bernheimer, Galen Gidman, Eric McFarland, Nolan Potter, Zach Scrinton, Richard Smith, Eli Cars, Sam Nieto, and Blake Cannon, who led the most laps on the day, a total of 61. Finally, you'll see Sean Kalist, John Steele, and last on the night, Ethan Lane, 3rd to 33rd. Tom Wetmore. What a shocking victory. He played his cards just right, and there's nothing else you can say about that. Roadhouse Racing finds a way, and the 51 is the second man, of course, to do it for the team, and it's his second win on the catalog. So far, with the big races of over 250 miles in length, Tom Wetmore has won 2 of which, one at Daytona, and while you only led 11 laps tonight, you led the final 11 in sequence to bookend 300 miles from America's home for racing, Tom. What a way to win it.
Yeah, I mean, quite a race tonight. I mean, props to these Tuesday night Integrity Racing League boys. I mean, I say it every time I get the privilege of working with you, but this league puts on some of the best racing with 190 laps of green flag. It's a test of endurance, and there were guys that had us beat tonight, but fortunately we made a right call on pit road that put us at the front of the field with just 10 to go, and we get to put this Tube Tech Chevy Camaro on victory lane. So it feels good, and get to talk to you first tonight, David. How was it?
Now, this was a tale of 2 races, and we mentioned it on the broadcast after our longest ever, to our record anyhow, in the Octane Series, longest ever green flag run, 188 laps. You were in a position to benefit if you took the gamble of 2 tire. Now, I think we figured out on the stream why you exactly did it, but can you walk us through your mindset?
Yeah, I mean, we were probably about halfway through that green flag run, and we knew we needed tires. It was just we didn't know how many. So, but one thing was sure tonight, as fuel mileage was going to play a hand later, you probably saw some guys fading from the front. They were super safe in fuel. Guys like Sam Nieto, Blake Cannon, guys like like Brad Patton making some pit strategy calls. So we had a pretty good shot at a podium, but what we didn't have was a shot at a win. That was going to come down to Jared Davis and Nick Ward tonight. And what it was going to take was something that gave us track position. So we took two Goodyear tires on the right-hand side, and we had ourselves a pair of PVC pipes on the left-hand side, just praying it was going to work out. And then unfortunately, something happened to Jared there on that restart that caused us to go to one more restart, and then with just 2 or 3 laps to hold him off, we were able to cover him up.
Difference maker is getting that launch off the final restart and that 4-lap jump, of course. That was the advantage you needed. It looks like keeping 2 warmed-up tires was the difference maker there. How well were the tires working with you as the night progressed? We saw conditions changing track-wise, but overall, it looks like the majority of the field had it locked down the whole night.
Yeah, I think whether you were driving a Toyota Camry, a 4-door Chevy tonight, by about lap 50, you were driving a Mack truck the way this thing shoved through the right front on the corners. I mean, the guys were complaining about things like tire warnings and all sorts of nature. So there were some guys that were doing a super save technique, and there were other guys trying to burn it, and it created a lot of comers and goers. So on track, a ton of fun, but for us in the race car, at least, it was funny. We could see guys that we ended up beating about 180 laps in, and maybe we didn't have the speed to pass in 20 laps. And then you had some guys that just blew our doors off 50 laps into a run, and you could see what they were doing early to make that happen. So a lot of fun in this tire model, probably something the Cup guys on Sunday wish they had.
Now you find yourself in the crooked number column with regards to victories, Tom, in what has already been a pretty strong season in regards to getting successful runs together. You find yourself, though, 17th in the championship standings. This is going to act as a significant booster before we head into those summer months. Now, with a win again, putting the wind in your sails, how do you think you're going to realign yourself for a playoff shot and a 3rd consecutive berth?
I could tell you it certainly feels good going into the Memorial Day weekend. Being from Indiana, getting to watch the Indy 500 this weekend to be the first one victorious, right? But we had a little bit of extra furry help on our side tonight. After 15 years of dutiful service, my dad and Kathy ended up losing the family dog. And so I like to believe that furry dog, after years of holding down the perimeter of the household, surveying many a project and being a man's best friend, that him passing this week must have been looking down and wanting those 2 tires to hold on. So this one goes out to a little furry friend, and certainly appreciate his years of service. And hopefully we put one together for a dog up in the sky tonight.
2 tires make the difference as we head toward the summer months. Tom Wetmore puts to an end the first part of the regular season with a triumphant victory. Charlotte Ignite, of course, Ignite and Octane Series both going. This is the Integrity Octane 300. Tom, 2 wins so far, and it looks like this one coming as perhaps the biggest shock in our biggest race. Any final comments and shout-outs you'd like to add?
I think we need to make these races longer. Apparently, when it goes over 250 miles, this Tube Tech Chevy runs all right. So I think we ought to keep doing this. I mean, with these long races, the protection of Robin Steele attorneys at law sure does mean a lot. And getting to put this Expeditions rig in victory lane looking good. Buddy, hey, it feels good. So shout out to everybody on board this car that makes this one happen. And Dave, appreciate you making us look good out here. Sometimes there's 30, 40, 50, or 60 of us on track, and being able to keep track of all of us, you guys do a great job. So thank you to you. Thank you to the Integrity Octane boys tonight, putting together a clean 188 laps. It's been a lot of fun. So I'll catch y'all later.
Tom Wetmore and the 51 crew make it happen tonight in a thrilling 4-lap sprint for victory. Thank you again for your time, Tom. With Wetmore on the move, again, the number 4 team of Nick Tarbuck pulling together strong in Charlotte. He had the 300 miles of experience last night. I figure it helped out quite a bit. And I think it, of course, comes down to just having that expertise behind the wheel before heading in for a second try. Round number 2 from Charlotte this week, Nick, and you find yourself second step of the podium. No stranger with these intermediate successes. 1 position was the difference.
Yeah, man, it was a good race all throughout, really. I mean, can't complain. Perfect kind of race. Really wish we could have gone the whole way green, but I would have finished a couple positions worse, so I guess I can't really be too mad about it. I had nothing. I mean, that last run, I don't know what I did differently, or if I didn't take as much fuel or something as I had to, but I was so tight. So I'm really glad that I was able to hang on for a podium spot there, because I was plowing. I had nothing for Tom, especially after that smooth restart game he played on everybody. He was gone. So all in all, can't really complain about second place. I mean, it's really competitive out there these days, so it's good to walk away with a solid finish before an off week.
Now, this was a race divided by that first caution, which came 188 laps in. It was an endurance race, by all accounts. You qualified 12th. You had a lot of time to put yourself in the upper echelon of this field. And when we say a lot of time, we really meant it. Nearly 300 miles run in consecutive order. How was it like managing that? Very different from what you saw yesterday, of course, when you were also on the track.
It is the reason why I sim race in a league like this. It is like, that's exactly the reason why. It was a lot of tight racing, a few guys throwing their weight around, but all throughout respectful, just stretch. It was full of strategy and just had to be on top of your game, man. You had to know how to drive the car. You had to know how to take care of it. I wasn't the best at that, to be honest with you, but just being able to kind of be methodical, get into a rhythm, be a comer or a goer, the pitch strategy aspect, it was the reason why I like doing this type of sim racing. So I'm so glad that after last night's just embarrassment, that we were able to have a good race like this here. Really couldn't have asked for a much better race. It was awesome to manage it. I hope I get to have a few more runs like this in this league, where it's about long runs and managing the car and all that kind of stuff. But I really am happy with how tonight went.
And tonight, management of that strategy, well, I wouldn't say it was all for naught. It came down to the final pit stop cycle where Tom Wetmore went for 2. Looks like everyone else went for that traditional strategy. What led to your call there in the final moments?
I did not want to try taking 2 tires because I just don't ever practice it or know how it behaves. So I was going to take 4 no matter what, and I thought I took full fuel. But man, the car just behaved terribly. So I was planning on filling the car up and changing all the tires. I'm pretty sure I did the full fuel to make it so it would rotate a bit more. But man, I had nothing for time. Even if I had gotten clear of the guys next to me, I just could not get the car to rotate. I don't know. I couldn't get it all night, honestly. I was really burning the right front off. I really need to figure out why I'm kind of falling into that bad habit. I never really had that issue before. But yeah, I mean, really, it was just stay alive those last 2 restarts. The first one was close. Almost got caught up in all kinds of mess. But, once we got that out of our system, I think we all kind of chilled out a little bit. And, really, once Tom did that restart where he slowed the field down, it really was impossible to even have a chance to catch him. So just hanging on, man. Really, just how those restarts get at the end.
One restart making the difference tonight. But, of course, so far, we're coming up on the summer months. It's make or break for the regular season. 6th place in the championship standings now, still eyeing that first victory in the Octane Series this year anyhow. Well, up next on the calendar, we've got ourselves a completely different style of race. It's no longer going to be a mile slugfest. At the end it was, yes. But it's next up, Nashville. So we're going to be going to a smaller circuit and a smaller race lengthwise anyhow. What's it going to take now to position yourself further for that one extra spot?
Yeah, I'm going to have to really figure out my issue with burning off the right front. I never had that issue before. I need to figure out what I'm doing differently, what I've changed with my setup. I've added a few, things, and I just need to figure out what I'm doing to stop doing that. Because once I could drive the car off the right rear a little bit, I was able to be really fast in this car. So, I think if I can do that, and, it's going to be hard to beat Blake. He's really a defensive driver. He's really aggressive across the board. So if you try to pass him, it's a tough feat. A lot of these guys in this league are really fast. So if I get up there, it's going to be a matter of me not destroying my right front. But Nashville's a good track. I did pretty well there before. And it's concrete, and concrete tracks are the best. So I have good hopes for it.
A strong podium finish puts good momentum in to fight for the top 5 of the championship picture. Second from Charlotte, Nick Tarbuck. Anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, man. Well, first, I want to thank you for broadcasting. It was a long race, long 2 nights for you, so thanks for hanging in there. Thanks to the admins for putting on a good race. Thanks to everybody who showed up and raced with common sense and respect tonight. Really good breath of fresh air. Thanks to everybody who tuned in and watched. Mom, Dad, my wife, my little kid, all the boys back home. And I guess we'll see you next week. Or not next week, but the week after.
Taking some time off after our biggest race of the season in terms of laps and mileage, Nick Tarbuck just 1 second short at the end of 300 miles. Thank you for your time. P2 on the day.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Number 4 of Tarbuck finishes ahead of another Nicholas, and that, of course, is Nicholas Ward. This 97 team has been exciting to watch as of course, very recent, and 2 consecutive successful races. Looks like tonight, the 97 team does just a little bit better than they did the night prior and enters the podium once again. Nicholas Ward continues that upward ascent in the racing charts and again goes for a 3rd place finish, a podium at that, at an intermediate. P3 on the day here from Charlotte. It was a long haul and you were just outside of victory lane.
Yeah, it was definitely a good day. Wasn't really expecting that, qualifying, practice, kind of back half of the top 10 or so. But then as the race progressed, we're just able to kind of still save a little bit more on that bottom lane and just kind of kept rolling forward till we got up to the, got up to the lead there for a while. I mean, it was a good night. Pit strategy sucked, or pit strategy didn't suck. Tom took 2 tires. It was good for him. Late race caution just sucks. And then I still don't know what happened with Davis on the restart. We sat here and been analyzing it ever since the race finished and just stack up, and it's really unfortunate. I feel bad and sorry to Davis for his night going from so good to so bad there at the end.
Now, before, of course, those final restarts came to pass, the battle was between you and Jared Davis head-to-head. Could you walk us through what was going on in those final 50-some laps before the caution?
Yeah. So once we pitted there at the end for that, what we thought was going to be our final green flag stop or final stop of the night, Nieto was a few seconds up from me, and he was saving fuel. A lot of the guys that had pitted a lap or two before me had to save fuel. And I knew that was the thing that they were going to have to deal with. And I didn't know that Davis was close enough, and I didn't know if Davis was going to have the fuel. I knew I was close. So I let Davis get to me, which was a mistake in hindsight. I had enough fuel from the time that we pitted, but I just wanted to save just a smidge just to be safe. And then when I let him by me, I just decided I was going to sit there right with him, save a little bit of extra fuel while we're there, and was planning on that last 10 to 20 laps actually really fighting for it because I was going to have enough fuel to make it right past the start-finish line. So we would have given it a good shot. We had a fast car all night. The Epic Universe Chevy Camaro, Epic Universe opening up May 22nd. I mean, it's a good night. The strategy was just run it as long as you could. And, the thought was just try and keep it up there with Davis, and we were going to try and put on a show there at the end.
Now, especially as of late, this 97 team having pace, and I think it comes down tonight. You raced in both the Ignite and Octane Series race. How was it for you preparing for another night at Charlotte, getting that experience from yesterday?
I think, outside of obviously all the yellows we had yesterday, I think that experience yesterday really helped. Kind of helped solidify kind of the line we were running, and just more track time. That's really what helps. Is all the extra track time that running both series this year gives. The momentum's been nice over there on the Ignite series. We were 28 points out of the cut line going into last night, and we left 11 points out. So we're doing good over there, and obviously we've got the win to lock us in over here. But obviously these are the kind of nights we want, right? Run up front, be in contention for the wins, and just kind of keep trying to stack these points and move higher up. That way we get a better seed for the playoffs. So momentum's great, trying to keep it rolling. I know we got an off week, and I don't really know where we go when we come back, but just trying to keep this momentum train rolling, keep going, and stay ready for the playoffs. That way when we get there, we can perform.
Elevating performance big time in advance of our playoff picture. Before we head off to our 1-week Memorial Day break, Nicholas Ward, any final comments you'd like to leave us with? The floor is yours.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for these awesome broadcasts you put on week in and week out. They're always great to watch. Jacob and the whole admin team for bringing us here racing for over a decade now. It's awesome racing, and obviously our sponsors, Next Level Racing, Next Level Racing and Sim Motion offering or sponsoring this series has been great. the stuff that they're doing this year with us. And then just thank all the guys out here for such a great race tonight. I mean, that's 200 lap race and we had 2 cautions. That's phenomenal. It's just such a great race, great group of guys. Yeah, thank you.
Nicholas Ward rounds out the podium in Charlotte, concluding a successful week for the 97 crew. Thank you again for your time. Ward on the move. A long haul again, but tonight ends up a lot quicker by virtue of those 2 lone yellow flags, as the field does a remarkable job keeping things clean. Checkered flag falls once more. Nicholas Ward finishes 3rd. Nick Tarbuck finishes in 2nd. And Tom Wetmore collects his 2nd victory of the season, getting the job done in the Integrity Octane 300. Thank you for tuning in this week. 600 miles. What a night it was for the field. And I'll tell you this much, we are more than ready to come back in 2 weeks' time and bring the Ignite and Octane series back to you. Until that point, you've been watching coverage from Charlotte Motor Speedway with the 13th race of the Octane series. I've been your host, David Croy. If you enjoyed tonight's coverage, make sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always sincerely appreciated. We'll be going for our Thursday night doubleheader with the Iora Cup Series and Highline Racing League on Thursday at 7:30 and 9 p.m., respectively. Thank you for tuning in. Congratulations to Tom Wetmore on achieving his 2nd victory of the season. We hope you have a fantastic night.